It's time for the Harvest Moon harvest. Come on down to the garden and join me today while I finish off my garden. Plants are dying back. Fruit is rotting on the vine. The fields have been harvested. And the leaves are turning colors on the trees. There's not a lot left in these gardens right now. We've had some frost threats, so we've already put some gardens to bed. We didn't get the frost they promised they called for, so I'm out here today to harvest the rest just in time for the harvest moon. My pumpkin harvest has been sad, with only 2 or 3 pumpkins coming in. My spaghetti squash and crookneck squash have been great. Apparently I missed one. I have one in here. The vine is completely dead. And they're prickly. There we go. There's a spaghetti squash. Maybe I'll have spaghetti squash for lunch today. I do still have flowers coming on these. I think I'll leave them as long as I can. This is my acorn squash. I hope the camera can pick that up. There's one little guy in there. I've harvested a bunch already. I'll leave it. If it ripens, then that's great. If it gets killed by frost, it's not a huge loss. It's one squash. And there might be more hidden under there that I can't even see yet. Over here is the end of my tomato season. Let's harvest today. Every color, red, green, orange, whatever I can get, I'm going to harvest these today. Then I'll have to come up with recipes for some green tomatoes. I'm going to have a huge amount here. They'll take a while to ripen. Some of these may never ripen. Mostly green. Some of these are already on the ground. They've fallen off. There's no bug damage. They're good. There are some ripe ones in there. For a garden that was poorly tended and was full of weeds all summer, it sure is being prolific. These plants just want to reproduce their seeds. That's all there is to it. They want to produce. This crop of Brussels sprouts in this garden didn't do so well. They didn't like having the weeds around them. There's an old story about farmers leaving the gleanings in the field so that the poor people could come behind and scrape up their meager existence from what was left. I don't know if that's a Bible story or if that's some old folk tale, but I'm not harvesting everything off of this field. Let the animals eat it. Let it go back to the earth. This blue bucket here is only 1 row of tomatoes. I still have another whole row to do. Oh man, I'm gonna have a lot of green tomatoes. I have never been able to grow green peppers. That's it. That's it for this crop down here. Now again, this field was filled with ragweed all summer long, so if I get 3 or 4 peppers, I'm happy. There's another one. That's it. That's all I got for green peppers today. I do have a few back in the house. Oh, there's one little one here. There's another one. Well, I got myself a few flowers to take in the house. I think this might be ragweed, but it doesn't look like any pollen is coming off of it. I can't pick more because there are bumblebees all over everything, so I'm going to leave it alone. They need their winter food. Go on, Miss Lala. Apparently I have some helpers in the garden today. They're eating the kale. We grew the kale specifically for them, so they can have at it. This is only half the flock. We have 11 birds. Funny enough, this is the oldest part of the flock. This is our 3 scarlet sasso and 2 of our 3 ivory sasso. The babies, the young ones, are about 6 months old now, the Canadian breasts. They just haven't clued in that they can follow me to food like this. Like the other garden, this garden was full of weeds, and it's mostly done because of that frost warning. I harvested a bunch the other day. I didn't harvest this. This is pak choi that's gone to seed, and I want to save the seeds. The seeds are fantastic for sprouting, and I can use them to start next season's crop. So let's save some of those. These have got little bean pods on them almost. Little seed pods that are full of little black seeds. Here we have Daisy in amongst the San Marzano tomatoes. I guess I have some harvesting to do here too. I'd like to leave these San Marzano to get a couple that go to seed. Here I have what's left of my cilantro. Obviously I didn't harvest it soon enough. Cilantro seeds is coriander, so you can grind that up or use it whole and use that as a spice. So here we go, we're harvesting off another, I'm holding the wrong side of that bundle. Let's harvest some coriander. I will have seeds for next season. I will have spice for my kitchen. These ones are not ripe yet. And the rest of those are not ripe yet. We don't want them when they're green. We want them when they are dried and brown. Coriander. Canada crookneck squash. It's not flowering anymore. And this plant right in front of me looks like it's had frost. And I'm hearing coyotes going crazy in the middle of the day. Watch, look at the chickens. Oh, the chickens heard them too, and the chickens are all running back into the run. This plant has been impressing me. Look at the Brussels sprouts on there. We're gonna have at least one meal. Oh, there's more in there. We'll have 2 meals. I've pulled some leaves off the Brussels sprouts. I'll take that to feed the chickens. They love this stuff. Apparently they know what I'm doing. They came to join me. This lovely volunteer is called a ground cherry. I don't know what its Latin name is. I just know it's a ground cherry. These little seed pods have a little piece of fruit inside. It's very much like a tomato in the texture of the skin, and the teeny tiny seeds are almost like a fig inside. You shouldn't eat them when they're green. Wait for them to fall off the vine and the paper will turn brown. They'll fall off the vine and the berry inside is yellow. These are delicious. I can't eat a whole lot of them the way they are because there's too many tiny seeds in them, but I would love to have some recipes or techniques for preserving these. Tell me what you use. They are abundant. The corn was harvested a while ago. I've just left the stalks here. As soon as the garden is done harvesting, Dan or I is just going to run over it with a lawnmower. Just chop and drop everything. It's obviously already full of weed seeds, and I know I've got a battle ahead of me next year. But this is what it is. I don't have the energy to do much more with it right now. I hope that by this time, or I hope that by May of next year, I'll be feeling stronger and healthier and we'll figure out what's going on with my health. But for now, mow it down. Come on in the house and see what we've got for our harvest. Oh, but I have to wrangle up the chickens first. That should be a hoot. I almost forgot about harvesting this. This is my elderberry. This is only the second year for this plant. It was planted last year, but it started to produce this year. I'll take it. Elderberry produces an umbrella shape of small black berries. They have toxins in them, so you have to eat them when they're ripe, and they have to be cooked or processed in some way. I'm getting a good harvest. I already have several of these in the house. There are a few more clusters to ripen still, but with frost being so close, I don't think this one will ripen in time. You can use the blossoms in tea. As we can see here, there is quite an abundance of harvest. All kinds of squash. The bucket of tomatoes I harvested today, and another spaghetti squash. Tomatoes and those elderberries I just harvested. These tomatoes are the long keeper, so I want them separate from the others. And here we have the coriander, the pak choi, the ground cherries, a couple of tomatoes, and the jalapenos I harvested today. I think I have my work cut out for me for the next few days. There we have it. Be sure to stop over and see Stephanie and Chris at Hickory Croft Farms for their hashtag Harvest Moon Harvest. This is my Harvest Moon Harvest, and I'm done for the season. And today I am done. This was enough for me to do. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon now. I think I should get some lunch. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. I'll see you next time.